And then I decided to quit my corporate job to start a cookie company about 11 years ago. I had no intention of growing to where I am today. It was kind of,
Hmm?
I don't know, an accident. You got to be careful what you wish for. So here I am.
Here you
Yeah.
are. This is your coach, Bill Goodwin. Welcome to the Priority Living Podcast. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Priority Living Podcast. I'm Coach Bill. I am super excited about my guest today. Tina Rexing is the founder and CEO of T-Rex Cookies. If you've ever been on a stadium or maybe at Hy-Vee or at the Minneapolis airport, they have a kiosk. These huge, wonderful cookies because you can't get enough. So why not make them big, the T-Rex cookies? And I had the pleasure of meeting Tina a few years ago, and she spoke at one of my leadership events, and I could think of no one better than I'd want to join me today. So please welcome Tina Rexing.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you. Fill us in. Just give us a little bit more of your story. I know we'll dive into it here, but what else would you like to add in the introduction of Tina Rexing?
Well, it's T-Rex cookie because it's Tina Rexing, if people haven't figured that out. But I actually started my career in corporate. So I spent a little over 20 years in corporate America, starting at Northwest Airlines. So I'm like aging myself there. And then I spent 5 years as a professional tennis instructor. And
Hmm.
then I went from there to a finance role. And then I went to an engineering role at Target. And then I decided to quit my corporate job to start a cookie company about 11 years ago. And I had no intention of growing to where I am today. It was kind of,
Hmm.
I don't know, an accident. So you got to be careful what you wish for. So here I am.
Here you
Yeah.
are. Well, your journey in your whole backstory with corporate and all the things that you've done leading up to where you are today is been quite a journey. This cookie business, how did the cookie business T-Rex cookies, how did that originally start?
After quitting my job, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to work for the man anymore. So
Mhm.
I was a competitive baker for 17 years, always testing my cookies on other people. And I decided, you know what, let me just try to sell cookies at the Minneapolis Farmers Market and just see if it works.
Mm.
So I had quit my job in 2014, November of 2014, actually on my birthday. Had a bad day.
Mm.
And I I then wrote a business plan and I launched the company. May of 2015 was when I first sold my first cookie, and sold it at the Minneapolis Farmers Market after finding a commercial kitchen. Because back then you couldn't legally sell your product anywhere unless you were in a commercial kitchen. So I rented a little commercial kitchen. I got a line of credit from the bank. I did a Kickstarter, and 8 months later, I landed on the Today Show.
How did that
And
come
so that
about?
kind of, social media,
Mhm.
people who fight social media, entrepreneurs who fight social media, it's actually your friend. If, in this day and age, if you're not on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, what have you, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table. So back then, social media was just a way of like communicating with people where I was.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, oh, hey, I'm at the Capella Tower. I'm at the Minneapolis Farmers Market. And so my following answered a call from the Today Show asking the question of what's the best cookie in Minnesota. And my
Okay.
followers answered on Facebook. And next thing I know, I have a phone call from New York asking if I'd be willing to fly out to New York to talk about a cookie. And of course, you say yes. But I flew out to New York, took advantage of that, talked about my cookie company for all of maybe 90 seconds. And that the rest is kind of like history, I guess, where you say that the US Bank Stadium reached out. We had a bunch of other companies reach out to say, hey, you have the best cookie in Minnesota. I want to sell you. So, yeah. And, the story keeps wandering from there. Just kind of like a
Yes.
crazy, crazy journey. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that journey. I wanna ask this
Yeah.
first, though. Was it always your thought when you created your cookie to go to the farmer's market to have it be the size that it is, or how did that come about?
That's a great question. No. So my first cookies were actually small, but if you recall, I told you I was a professional tennis instructor for a while and I had a really bad case of tennis elbow. And basically I was doing when I started the company was make these little cookies with a cookie scooper using my thumb,
Mhm.
and my tennis elbow started to act up pretty badly. And I went into the kitchen once going, "Oh no, I have to make cookies. What if I just made them bigger by hand?" So I went to the market with these giant cookies because I was lazy and I didn't want to make
Oh my
bunches of
goodness.
little ones. And no one would buy the small cookies anymore. So I'm like, well, there's my niche. And the people are like, "Oh, it's T Rex cookie because they're so big." And I'm like, sure. It's
That's
actually T Rex
great.
cookie because my name is Tina Rexing. But yeah. So it's kind of a roundabout funny story, but it's a good start story and it's a true one, you know.
That is amazing. Well, that definitely does set you apart. I mean, the flavor of the different cookies that I've had of yours are fantastic. And, I'm not one to be known to ever eat just one normal size cookie. So I like the fact that they're big cookies, but I can see where that has set you apart. And I just love hearing the backstory of how that came about. That's fantastic. So you were on the Today
Well,
Show. Yeah,
what
go ahead.
people that was on the Today Show, what people don't just to butt in on why the
Hmm.
large cookie it works is that people forget that a smaller cookie gets stale faster. Um,
Oh, so it's
so when you make
practical
the big
too.
cookies, yeah, the big cookies have a longer shelf life. Just, if you can not eat the whole thing.
Yeah, that would be the key, to not eat the whole thing. Well, that's fantastic. Okay, I'm learning things about cookies here. The bigger the cookie, the longer the shelf life. That's awesome. So you were on the Today Show, and then part of your story is this little show called Shark Tank. So how did you get connected to Shark Tank, and tell us the Shark Tank story here?
Oh, the funny Shark Tank story, which, everyone on Shark Tank has to sign an NDA. They
Mhm.
can't talk about it. But I did some research. I'm not going to tell you anything that no one doesn't already know about Shark Tank.
Mhm.
So I applied for Shark Tank in 2019 and I had forgotten. Actually, no, I applied in fall of 2018 and I had completely forgotten that I had applied for it. July of 2019, I got a phone call out of the blue asking if I would still be interested in moving forward with their selection process. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, oh, this is Shark Tank. And I'm like, oh, I got it. So out of 10,000 online applicants, they picked 500 to go on to this next level.
Okay.
And basically, that's 3 months of your life you'll never get back because you will meet with a producer every week for the next 2 months, kind of crafting a story, crafting your pitch, and analyzing your business.
Mhm.
And at any point in time, they can drop you.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I made it to the final cut to actually get flown out to LA. I flew out to LA September of 2019. And even when you make the final cut to go there, you might not even get in front of the sharks.
Amazing.
So I did get in front of them. It was a really good experience. So I got in front of them. They they tell you a couple weeks beforehand who your sharks are going to be, and the one I
Mhm.
wanted to work with wasn't going to be there. So I kind of just changed my story to make sure that I don't say anything stupid
Mhm.
because Shark Tank, they can edit things to make you look really dumb,
Mhm.
and I didn't want that to happen. So, yeah, at the end of the day, there was no deal, but it also didn't air. So not everybody who films in front of the sharks will air. And I did not air because my episode was super boring because I remembered all my numbers and they had nothing but nice things to say about me. So,
You came
uh,
prepared and you knew what they were, how they roll, and you were ready to give it all to them. Yeah, that's so
right.
interesting,
So,
the process to even to get to where you got. That's incredible.
it was a very, very good experience. Would I do it again? Sure, just for the complete analysis of your business at the time. It really
Mhm.
makes you dig into your company to figure out what you really want to do with yourself. Ironically enough, that even though I didn't air, had I aired, it would have aired the day the country shut down because of COVID.
Oh my goodness.
So no one would have watched it anyway. You know what I mean? So it's just it's kind of a funny story about that entire part of my life.
Yeah, it is. It's a very unique part of your story. And what I love about it is, you mean you had that experience, so you could talk about it. But I love the fact that you aren't an entrepreneur that didn't get your story to air and you're still trying to make it. Like you've had breakthroughs
Yeah.
along the way, even without partnering with a shark, and you didn't have to give up any of the equity of your business in order to keep moving forward. So that's also kudos to you. That's a lot of hard work, and I'm sure that it's like any business. There's a roller coaster of ups and downs of things that you experienced along the way. But I'm just so proud that the fact that you've just persevered and you've got this amazing cookie and this amazing company that didn't, at the end of the day, need the help of Shark Tank to get you where you are.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I bootstrapped this company from the very beginning. It wasn't until last year that I picked up some investors, but smaller investors. I did go through a period of time where I was trying to raise a large amount of money, and what I would have to give up in exchange
Mhm.
for that money wasn't worth my pain and suffering.
Mhm.
So I decided to partner with a smaller set of investors that knew me personally, that knew me when I was just an analyst or knew me when I was just an engineer. And so having them have full trust in me versus the people who didn't care about me or my company and they just wanted to know when I was about to exit and how much I could sell it for. you
Isn't
know,
that something?
um, and some entrepreneurs just want to get to that point where they want to sell versus
Mhm.
grow,
Mhm.
or they have to give up a fair amount of equity in order to grow. I've been fortunate enough where I didn't have to do that.
Oh, that's wonderful. So along the way, share with us as a CEO and entrepreneur, what's a challenge maybe in those early days that you navigated and you were able to push through and overcome, and what did you learn from the experience of a challenge that you faced?
My first challenge was in order to have my own kitchen, I actually had to move into a cafe space because it was probably the only property that was available. I became a restaurant owner, and basically I started to realize I owned a cafe, which I needed a cook, baristas, a whole army of like food service people. I had to learn how to run a restaurant. And after 2 years, I realized, this is not my strength. And this is really
Mhm.
taking me away from the core of T Rex cookie. I was more concerned about what kind of soup I was going to serve versus the kind of cookies I was going to serve. But I took advantage of a situation where a company purchased the entire building that I was in, and they were going to tear down the whole building and turn it into condos. And they wanted me to sign a contract saying, I'm going to come back and reopen my cafe. A, I did not sign that contract. And B, after they told me the building was going to get torn down, I took it as an opportunity to leave the space and kind of change the business model. So I took the business model that I really, really wanted was I want just a cookie bakery. I
Mhm.
don't want to serve coffee. I don't want seats. I just want people to come in, get the cookies, and leave.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, so that's what I built was take this opportunity instead of like, oh shoot, my my cafe that I've worked so hard to build and make, prosperous is going to get torn down, woe is me. I'm like, let me turn this on its head and say, let's look at this as an advantage and an opportunity for us to change business models.
Yeah. You
And
got
I
to
think for a
pivot.
lot of entrepreneurs, yeah,
Mhm.
this was before pivot was like a thing, right?
Yeah.
COVID
Right.
was Mr. like the pivot moment of the world. But
Mhm.
before pivoting was a hot trend, I pivoted from owning a cafe and saying, you know what? I want a bakery just to make cookies. And so I took advantage of that. Um, I took advantage of my surroundings because there was a space 5 doors down from a bar I would drink cocktails at that was empty for 6 years. And so I had a couple cocktails, I went down to this empty space, I looked through the window, and I'm like, "I bet you I can put a bakery in there." And so the next day I called the landlord, and I'm like, "Hey, how about I rent that space that's been empty for 6 years from you?" And that's how my Egan location opened up.
Okay.
And I designed it specifically so I can manufacture in it and not be a service industry place in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how my brick and mortar showed up.
I love that because, yeah, like you said, that was really before the word pivot was kind of the popular thing or whatever, but I love that you took going in one direction and you didn't choose to not open the cafe at first because you needed a kitchen. You chose to try it
Mhm.
out with the kitchen, but when you discovered, "Hey, I'm spending more time thinking about soup than I am, what
Yeah.
flavors than the cookies," you were kinda divided in your thought. I think of the phrase, "The one who chases 2 rabbits catches neither one." And that's kind of a principle
Right.
there, right? And your focus is the cookies, so you had a great opportunity that came your way about the building being changed, that you could get out of that lease and be able to go and do what you really desired to do, and, I think that's phenomenal. So, what changes then came with T-Rex cookies as a result of now having the focus of your time and effort on the bakery versus having maybe a little bit of the distraction of the cafe?
Well, the bakery allowed me to open up my wholesale side of the business where I would sell cookies to venues like
Mhm,
the US Bank Stadium, Orchestra Hall, Excel Energy, or what they call Grand Casino now. So, oh, and the Timberwolves. So
mhm,
I could use the bakery, like I said, as a manufacturing place where people can come in and buy cookies, yes. But my main goal for my location was a place where I could manufacture, bake, and package and ship things out of Egan. So that's kind of what I focused it on. So that was my big change. But I got a little ambitious, and I said, you know what? I want to open a second location.
uh-huh,
So the second location was in a shopping mall. And I'm like, this could be a good idea. So I found a really good space in Ridgedale Mall, a pretty like a non-touristy mall of the Twin
mhm,
Cities. And it was spaced right in the center of the mall, like where Santa would set up. And it was right across from a Caribou Coffee, right across from a Haagen-Dazs. And so I opened a second location, and I opened on March 1st, 2020.
oh, you did, okay,
Yeah, so talk about timing. My
mhm,
timing was not great. My first 2 weeks was amazing. Um, when the country shut down because of COVID, it was it was a disaster, right? So here's like, what do you do next? How do you pivot from a pandemic?
mhm,
Was how do I now I have 2 locations. One's closed because it's a shopping mall, and the other one, I'm an essential company, but I have no employees because all my employees quit to collect unemployment.
mm,
Um, so here I am. COVID starts. It's me and 3 high school kids because they couldn't collect unemployment.
uh-huh.
So yet another pivot for T-Rex Cookie. I did so much pivoting between 2020 and 2023. I'm kind of dizzy from it.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of tenacity and a lot of perseverance. That says a lot about your drive and your character to just, coming up against challenges and obstacles and then finding a way to push through and to do what you need to do to keep going.
Definitely, but I want people to realize that when you're in this kind of situation that failures will happen. I
Yes.
don't know if you can swear in here, but shit happens.
Mhm. Yep.
And you just have to I think how you deal with it defines you more than the outcome,
Mhm.
right? So, what happened to the company during COVID. I didn't sit around waiting for someone to bail me out. You know,
Mhm.
I knew that people were trapped in their homes, and we took a food truck around to everybody's neighborhood and got people outside. And, you know, my background's also in negotiations. So
Oh, there you
when
go.
the shopping mall said that they still wanted to collect rent from me even though the shopping mall was closed, I'm
Yeah.
like, none of this feels right to me. So
Mhm.
I go into my toolbox of skills that I learned in corporate America, and I, you know, took the negotiation tool out and started
Mhm.
using that. So a lot of people tend to forget that the things you've done in the past really can help you go forward.
Yes. Yes, I love that, and I love the fact that even when we're in the middle of whatever it is we're in the middle of, that our now can always lead to our next. Like you said, like
Mm,
we gain skills, we gain connections, we gain all kinds of things that we may not even realize we're gaining in the now, but it can help us in our next and can help us to, to go farther than had we not had those experiences in the past. So your corporate experience definitely was part of your skill set and in your toolbox of how to navigate
mhm.
that situation and probably many other situations too.
Yeah, and I do talk to a lot of like college classes and college and high
Mhm.
school classes, and they offer a major now in entrepreneurship, which as an entrepreneur, I find that very interesting because can you really major in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it seems
Because
a
part
little
of it, I don't know what the word is, but being part of being an entrepreneur to me is taking a lot of what you've learned in the past to apply it. So when
Mhm.
you major in entrepreneurship as a young person,
Mhm.
right out of college, you're going to start your business, not saying that it can't be done, but if you can find a job, I know the job market kind of stinks right now, but if you can find a job that can pay you to learn skills and then you can apply
Mhm.
those skills to the business that you're going to start, that's doing you a favor. I honestly don't think my company would be where it's at today had I not had that experience in the corporate world.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You're another example of that your now leads to your next. But at the time you were in corporate, you didn't know that you'd be running a cookie business now. So, but it was also part of the preparation. That's just amazing, Tina. I love to hear your journey because of the perseverance that you've had in building this, and I think that's one thing that I always say, I wanna tip my hat to entrepreneurs who just keep on going, and you're a perfect example of that, so that's awesome. There's so much stuff I wanna ask you, we just don't have time, oh my gosh. So let's do this, we got a few more moments, let's jump into the priority living. I call it the priority round, the 7 questions. I'm so excited about this. Oh my
Sure.
gosh. Okay. So, Tina, what's one priority that you protect no matter how busy life gets?
Uh, for me, it's working out. So
Mhm.
nothing recharges a body more than making time for yourself to challenge yourself physically. So now I actually teach yoga 3 days a week,
Good for you.
which that I get paid for it. So now I'm getting paid to make that priority, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
second question. What's something successful people say
Mm.
yes to too often? What's something successful people say yes to too often?
Successful people say yes to too often. I would I would say public speaking. For me, I find myself being asked um, to come on podcasts, which I love doing.
Yeah.
I've been asked a lot to go teach a class or go speak at a class. So it's really hard to say no when someone's asking you to like share your expertise about something. One thing I have to
Mhm.
learn though is like I should start charging for it.
Heard you
I haven't
at
learned how. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I first heard you speak at a Rotary Club, and I'm like, her story's amazing, and then you were so gracious to come to one of my leadership events, Live to Lead, and speak at that. So thank
Yeah.
you for saying yes a second time to me by being on the podcast. That's so gracious
Oh,
of you.
you're welcome.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, third question. What's one habit that changed your life?
Oh, one habit that changed my life. Hmm. I would say I would say doing yoga.
Mhm,
People think it's kind of like an easy thing to do, but trying to be more mindful at specific times of day
mhm.
is really helpful. I have to do more meditation, but especially my yoga habit is has been really helpful for me.
That's great. What's something that you've had to let go of?
Baking. I don't bake anymore.
You
Ah,
don't? Oh my goodness.
no. So that's the hardest part is like being I think part of being a successful business person is to find
Mhm.
people who can do that better than you.
Yes.
Um, so the person that is baking my cookies right now, it's still my cookies, still my recipe, still my company, but
Mhm.
I have people who can do it for me. And there's a lot of small business owners that have a really hard time letting go of that core.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true, and yet that's part of the expansion is knowing what to let go of
Mm,
and to move on from. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, what this is a good one, kinda deep. I don't know if this is a quick answer.
Ooh,
Probably you can give a quick answer. What's your definition of a meaningful life?
oh, that's very deep.
Yeah.
I want to say, for me, a meaningful life is something that gets me up in the morning.
Mhm.
I mean, it could be your family, it could be your business. It doesn't have to be defined and it can change every day, right? So tomorrow I might get up because I've got a tea time, or
Mhm.
tomorrow I might get up because I have a meeting with a packaging company. I don't know. But something that gets you up every day. I think once you realize that you're laying in bed and you don't want to get up, then it's time to reevaluate what's going on in your life.
Excellent. Wow, you navigated that one. Wow, I like that. I like your answer to that. Okay, 2 more. What does
Mm,
rhythm look like in your life? Let me give you a backstory to that. In my book, Priority Living: 7 Pillars to Make Your Life Count, one of my pillars is the pillar of rhythm. So it's the pacing and the way
mm.
in which we go about our life. So that's where that question comes from. What does rhythm look like in your life?
Okay, so I will preface with that I'm a double Scorpio. I don't know if that means anything to anybody,
Okay.
but I'm a very fast-paced person. I don't sit and noodle about stuff. That's my husband. He will sit and analyze something until the question has gone by and I forget what I asked. I'm a very fast-paced person. So rather than playing the bass, I'm more playing an electric guitar
There you go.
with a guitar solo in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's so
Yeah.
great. So so the rhythm in your life is making decisions and keep things moving.
The yeah, the longer it takes for you to make a decision, the longer things take to do, I think. So I'm just more like chop, 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 chop. So yeah, I'll make mistakes along the way. I won't lie, but
Yeah,
I also am quick at fixing them.
there you go. And I love what you said earlier about, the failure because failure and success go together. It's like we have
Mm,
challenges, we might not make the right decision or whatever, but then we recover and we learn and grow from that too. So, last one here in the priority 7 round of questions here. What's one sentence that you want your life to say?
I got shit done.
You got it done. Oh my goodness.
I got it done. I know I'm not supposed to swear, but I got done. I got things
Yeah.
done. I'm an executor.
Mhm.
Um, I've taken so many personality inventories and whatnot, enough to know the fact that I don't sit idle
Mhm.
and, give me a problem and I'll solve it. Now that sounds kind of very vanilla ice of me, but
Mhm.
yeah. I'm hoping that your listeners are old enough to know that reference.
Absolutely. Okay, this is great. Is there something that maybe I didn't ask you that you would like to share that might be beneficial for our listener today that's leaning in on our conversation? And also, what kind of closing remarks would you wanna add?
Um, this probably gives you a little bit of background of what my single sentence um was for your last
Mhm.
question. So a lot of people have asked me why I what made me quit corporate. Um, and I was at a big box retailer with the bullseye logo, and I was applying for a job, and this recruiting job that I really wanted. I wanted to be a target recruiter so bad because I was bleeding bullseyes. I really believed in target, and after going through a 30-day interview process, I didn't get the job, and target's all about feedback. The feedback I got was Tina's ability to get shit done is a problem.
You move too
And
fast in that
when
space.
you get that feedback, you're like, wait, my ability to get things done is a problem. And so that really made the gears turn in my head about what can I do where that is not a problem.
Mhm,
And being an entrepreneur definitely is that.
mhm.
So I will preface with the fact that entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
That's right.
You have to have a strong stomach. You have to be okay with crying. You have to be okay. You have to be okay with being curled up in the fetal position every once in a while. And that's something I'm teaching my son now who works for me, is
Mhm,
that it it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just launch it because at one point we'll figure it out, and nothing's ever permanent. Nothing in life is ever permanent except for death. So that's one thing I want to make sure that your audience knows.
Oh, that is such great insight and great wisdom. I really appreciate this time with you, Tina. You are
Oh,
so outstanding, and I really love your cookies too, by the way. So thank you. Thank you for taking time to have this conversation. I know you've added value to so many people. I really appreciate it. How can people find you? We'll put all the links in the show notes, but how could people find your cookies and find you?
we are in just about every grocery store in the frozen section, and we're in all the Cub food stores and Hy-Vee stores in the bakery. And you'll find us in all the major arenas. And we just got into the Mystic Lake Amphitheater. Yay. So if you're seeing
Oh,
a cool
that's
concert this
great.
summer,
Hmm.
go get one. But trexcookie.com, we ship all over the country, and follow us on Instagram. We do such crazy things. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. And everyone, go follow Tina and T Rex Cookies on Instagram and go buy a cookie and buy a cookie for a friend and share the love of T Rex Cookies. And Tina, thank you so much. It's been a joy
Thank
having you on
you.
today. Thanks for being a part of the Priority Living
Thanks for having
podcast.
me.
Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, I'm your coach, Bill Goodwin, reminding you to live intentionally, lead powerfully, and make your life count.